Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Teammate Wars. It's time to see the updated scores following the Spanish Grand Prix. As remember, the teammates are given points for the following criteria: qualifying, fastest lap, and race result. At the front of the field, the battle between Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas remains one of the closest on the grid, with Bottas still marginally ahead after the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. But the way Hamilton controlled the race, bouncing back from his teammates' crushing pole position on Saturday, suggests Bottas will have to dig deep again if he is to keep this championship fight alive throughout the season. Hamilton even managed to score a rare fastest lap, the 42nd of his F1 career and his first since the bonus point for that achievement was added for this year. At the back of the field, Robert Kubica's miserable season continues, and he now finds himself 15-0 down to George Russell after 5 races. Both drivers have previously mentioned that something seemed wrong with Kubica's chassis, but at Barcelona last weekend, they switched cars, with Russell still comfortably coming out on top. Kubica had suspected there was a difference between the cars in the floor area, although that problem went away when Russell's floor was destroyed by a manhole cover in Baku. The Toro Rosso drivers went into the Spanish Grand Prix weekend tied on our scores, but Daniel Kvyat moved into a decisive lead on a weekend where both he and Alex Albon were competitive throughout. There wasn't much to choose between these two all weekend, but Kvyat enjoyed a narrow advantage that was good enough to get him into Q3 on Saturday, and in the race, his fastest lap was 0.3 quicker than Albon's. Both drivers were held up by a delay in the pits under the safety car, which Kvyat believes cost him the chance to claim best of the rest honors in 7th. However, he was still able to finish in the points, while the confusion dropped Albon out of the top 10. Renault still has a long way to go to get on top of its struggles this season, but new signing Daniel Ricciardo at least appears to be building some momentum over Nico Hülkenberg as he settles in at the team. Over the last 3 races, Ricciardo has outscored Hülkenberg 8-1 on our system, and he whitewashed his German teammate at Barcelona. Hülkenberg's weekend was compromised from the moment he crashed in qualifying, and while he recovered from a pit lane start to finish just behind Ricciardo on Sunday, he is now 9-5 behind the Australian for the season. Kimi Raikkonen completed his second clean sweep of the season over Antonio Giovinazzi, who was eliminated in Q1 after being half a second slower than the Finn. That gap was repeated in the race with their fastest laps, while there was only 6 seconds between them at the checkered flag, a margin that was closed up slightly by the late race safety car period on a day where neither looked like a contender for a points finish. Romain Grosjean beat Kevin Magnussen to Class B pole position by 11 thousandths of a second on Saturday, and there were times during the race where the two Haas cars were separated by even less than that as they went wheel to wheel in the battle for best of the rest. The pair had 2 close calls at turn 1 late in the race, making contact the first time, and from there, Grosjean's race unraveled as he slipped back to 10th, while Magnussen held on to take 7th. Magnussen extended his comfortable lead in this teammate battle with a faster lap in the race, which was 0.3 of a second quicker than Grosjean's. Lance Stroll's faster lap in the Chinese Grand Prix remains the only blow he has struck against Sergio Perez in the last 4 races, as the Mexican again enjoyed supremacy in their teammate war in Spain. There was only 0.1 of a second between them in qualifying, but that was enough to make a crucial difference as Stroll fell in Q1 while Perez made it through. Stroll wasn't far behind Perez when his race came to an end in a collision with McLaren's Lando Norris, but he ended up bottom of the fastest lap ranking as he missed out on the late race charge everyone else put in on fresh tires after the safety car that followed his accident. Now, the battle between Carlos Sainz Jr. and Lando Norris at McLaren is joined with Mercedes as the closest teammate fight on the grid after 5 races, with just 1 point between them in Sainz's favor. Norris was the faster driver by just 0.2 of a second as both McLarens were eliminated in Q2 during qualifying. although he was running 11 seconds behind the home hero when his race ended in a clash with Lance Stroll's Racing Point. Sainz managed to come home 8th in his home race, comfortably setting a faster lap than Norris, who, like Stroll, missed out on the soft tires, low fuel combination for the final stint of the race after the safety car. Max Verstappen dominated Pierre Gasly for the second race running in Spain, defeating the Ferraris to land the final podium position in the race. Now, while Gasly is slowly finding his feet following his promotion from Toro Rosso to Red Bull, the most concerning stat in this teammate battle has to be that the Frenchman is yet to outqualify or finish ahead of Verstappen in any of the races. Aside from George Russell at Williams, Verstappen enjoys the biggest margin in our teammate wars with a commanding 13-2 advantage. Sebastian Vettel versus Charles Leclerc is one of the most intriguing battles on the grid this year, and the pair spent plenty of time fighting each other or moving out of each other's way on Sunday. But in our teammate wars, the veteran is starting to establish an advantage over the newcomer. Vettel has scored 8 of the last 9 available points under our system through the last 3 weekends, and he outperformed Leclerc in every category in Spain. As the race showed, the battle was close all weekend, with Vettel 3/10 quicker in qualifying and his fastest lap 2/10 better than Leclerc's, and in the end, there were just 4 seconds between them in the race. That's it for today's episode of Teammate Wars. Stay tuned for our next video with the updated scores following the Monaco Grand Prix on May 26th. I'm Julia Piquet, and thanks for watching.